called the towed side scanning sonar. Towed, what does tow mean? Tow means if a vehicle tows another, that means it pulls the other vehicle along behind it. Understand? Towing. Towed. So like if you park your car at a place where you shouldn't, they tow your car. Okay. Towed side scanning. Side means scanning the side. All right. What does scan mean? Scan means to look around an area to find something. All right. Scanning sonar. What's a sonar? Sonar is an equipment to measure the depth of the sea or find the location of something underwater using sound waves. All right. Let me draw you a picture for better understanding. This is where my whiteboard comes. You look at this. This boat is pulling the device behind it. All right, and this is a sonar, and it's scanning the sides. That's what it would mean. Okay. It's not important if this picture is exact or not. The important thing is that you being able to set, okay, to make up an image of that in your head, okay? It's not important to know the detailed facts about the passage. Just for you to get the idea is important. It gets towed behind a research ship that follows precise paths across the area where the ship is believed to be. It gets towed behind a research ship. What is a research? Research is examine or study. Okay. That follows the precise paths. What is precise? Precise means exact. Did I tell you that? Paths. Path is a way that you walk along. Across the area, what does across mean? Across means from one part to the other, from one side to the other. Across the area where the ship is believed to be. The device takes sonar images of the seafloor. Sonar images. What is an image? Image is a picture. Okay? Any unusual anomalies, shall we say, get investigated. Any unusual anomalies, shall we say. Okay. Anomaly, what's that? Anomaly is something that is not normal, something that is not usual or can be expected. What does that mean, shall we say? Shall we say means if I put it in a word or an expression. Get investigated. Investigate. What does that mean? Investigate means to find out what actually happened or what is true. Let's go to the...
Investigate these anomalies? At the sea floor. Any unusual anomalies, shall we say, get investigated. How do they investigate these anomalies? In shallow water, divers are used, but divers are limited in what they can do. For instance, they can only stay underwater for short periods of time, and they can't dive very deep. For deep shipwrecks, a robotic submersible or human-operated submersible may be used. A submersible is a small submarine equipped with cameras and controls for picking things up off the seafloor. If the team is lucky, the submersible will identify a shipwreck site. As you can imagine, this is no simple task. It takes lots of money, time, and patience. Even the most famous shipwreck in history, the Titanic, remained hidden for decades due to its depth underwater and the inability of technology to go that far underwater. It wasn't until the middle of the 1980s that the Titanic was finally located.
Okay. So what was this part about? When they find the anomalies, how do they investigate that? How can they check? With what? Okay. He talked about two things. What? One was the divers, and the second one was robotic submersible. Okay? Or human-operated submersible. How do they investigate these anomalies? In shallow water, divers are used. What's a diver? Diver is a person that dives, alright? It means go underwater with a special breathing equipment. But divers are limited in what they can do. Limited, what does that mean? If you limit something, you prevent something from becoming bigger, larger than a certain amount or a degree, okay? So limited means restricted, okay? It's similar to that in what they can do. For instance, what does that mean, for instance? It means for example. Instance means example or an occurrence of something happening. They can only stay underwater for short periods of time and they can't dive very deep. They can only stay underwater for short periods of time. What is a period? Period is the length of time. And they can't dive very deep. For deep shipwrecks, a robotic submersible or human-operated submersible may be used. For deep shipwrecks, alright? A robotic, what does that mean, robotic? Robotic means it can be operated automatically, okay? Submersible, what does that mean, submersible? It means it can go underwater or be operated underwater, okay? Submerse, sub means under, mersible. Let me give you a word, a similar word, immerse. If something immerses, means it goes underwater, okay? It becomes completely covered by water. Robotic submersible or human-operated submersible. Human-operated means it's operated by human. What does operate mean? Operate means work or make something work. A submersible is a small submarine equipped with cameras and controls for picking things up off the seafloor. A submersible is a small submarine. What's a submarine? Submarine is a ship which can go above or underwater, okay? Sub means what? Under. Marine means the sea, okay? Submarine. The ship that can go above or under the water. Equipped with cameras. What does equip mean? Equip, if you equip something, you give you put equipment to it, all right? Equipment. What is equipment? Equipment is like a device, okay? Something that is designed to have a purpose or a function, okay? A small submarine equipped with cameras and controls for picking things up off the seafloor. Off the seafloor. Off has the meaning of what? Detaching, alright? The meaning of no longer touching that thing. If the team is lucky, the submersible will identify a shipwreck site. The submersible will identify. What does that mean? Identify means to recognize or distinguish something from something else. Okay? As you can imagine, this is simple task. What's a task? Task is a work. It takes lots of money, time, and patience. What is patience? Patience is the quality of being able to not get annoyed, even if there's an annoying situation, a situation that you can't bear or tolerate. Okay, I'll give you the word: bear, tolerate. Okay. Even the most famous shipwreck in history, the Titanic, remained hidden for decades due to its depth underwater and the inability of technology to go that far underwater. Even, what does that mean? You use even when you want to say something surprising. Even the most famous shipwreck in history remained hidden. What does remain mean? Remain means to stay in that condition or state. Hidden for decades. For decades. What's a decade? Decade is 10 years, the period of 10 years. Especially the ones that begin, the years that begin with a zero. So from 1980 to 1989 would be a decade. Due to its depth underwater. Due to, what does that mean? Due to means because of the depth underwater. Depth is what? The noun form of deep. And the inability. What does that mean? Inability. Ability means what? You can do something. Okay. Inability means you can't. Okay. The state of you not able to do the thing. Inability of technology. What is that? Technology. Technology is scientific knowledge used in a practical way. You understand? It wasn't until the middle of the 1980s that the Titanic was finally located, finally found. Let's go to the next part.
So the wreck gets found. What's next? Now come the tasks of identifying it, exploring it, and bringing up some of its artifacts. How do archaeologists identify it? Well, many ships have markings on them. These may be their names or identifying numbers. Iron and steel-hulled ships may be shaped in ways that make them easy to identify. As for wooden ships, they may have disintegrated, so things like ship's bells, cannons, and other metal objects are used to identify the ship. Also, the team must explore the ship by using divers, or in many cases, submersibles that make video recordings.
Okay, what is this part about? What do you do next after the wreck gets found? Okay? What do? They have to identify, means see what it is. Okay? The wreck gets found. What's next? So the wreck gets found. Now come the tasks of identifying it, exploring it, and bringing up some of its artifacts. Now come the tasks of, what does that mean? Now come. Means now you have to do this. Okay, now come the tasks of identifying it. What does identify mean? Oh, I did this, right? Identifying it, exploring it. What does explore mean? Explore means to travel around an area to see what it looks like, to see what it's like, okay?